What's
Yo,
up? Go ahead, Mike. Hit it, brother.
yo, Zach Wilson, breaking news. Starting quarterback for the New York Jets on Sunday versus the Lions. Um, just quickly had to talk about this. Keith, initial thoughts for me doesn't feel right. Okay. It just feels scandalous, in my opinion, that because if you needed to get Zach back in, this is the perfect opportunity to do that, which is why immediately my mind goes to conspiracy. Again, would this be JD? Would this be the coach? I'm not sure. But honestly, I think the main reason why they did this is because there was no way the players were going to play if they wanted to get Zach back out there over Mike White. And so this
Yeah.
way they can hide that decision. So I know there are a number of people on social media right now that are not fans of this and they
Yeah.
think that there's mad conspiratorial things in the background. But yeah, that's where my head went immediate.
Yeah, Mike. So I know a lot of Jet fans, our friends, our chat right now is lighting up with people thinking and pushing forward the Zach Wilson conspiracy theory. I'm not even saying it's the craziest thing I've ever heard considering the circumstances, but there's a few things, I just want to step in here just for a second, Jet fans. Just for a hot second. Just be the voice of reason. Because what we're saying, if what you're putting forward other Jet fans is, oh, they're just doing this to get Zach in and Mike White is healthy, is that Joe Douglas and Robert Salah, two guys that we have a lot of faith in now and have earned our trust this year with their decision making, and two guys, Mike, that just a few weeks ago we all patted on the back for starting Mike White and sitting Zach Wilson and eating that criticism, even though he was the number 2 pick. What we're saying now is forget all that. Zach's back in, even though we're in a playoff run. We're going to put that ahead of the playoff run and these last 4 games in that stretch, which to me just doesn't sound logical or consistent with at least the way they've managed this season with the Jets. Why bench Zach, have White come in, play well, and then try to force Zach in with Mike White actually is healthy? I understand what you're saying too, Mike, because I think the last 3 weeks, Mike White has earned Jets fans' trust. I think he's played much better than Zach has ever played. And I think when you see him come back in the game last week, right? Jeffrey, like, what are you talking about? How could he not play this week? Mike, don't you think that's something that's kind of like one of the red flags why he's kind of standing out the Jet fans, because he actually did finish the game out last week?
Correct. And he got cleared for practice. And like the way I look at it, I'm like, there wasn't any major red flags of him playing. And then all of a sudden yeah, he's not playing. And to me, I immediately go to, and again, this is mad conspiratorial and people start to, but my mind goes, oh yeah, Woody John, this could be ownership or someone high up telling doctors don't clear him to give the
Yeah.
chance to have this kid play. So I don't know. Again, I don't have any proof or anything like that, but that's where my mind goes. But I will say this: Zach's going to get a chance to play against one of the worst defenses in the league.
Mm.
If he goes out there and stinks it up, if he goes out there and doesn't move the offense, if he goes out there and proves that he is incapable of being a QB1 at this point, 20 plus games in,
Yep.
2 years out, okay, then for me, I'm 100% done. And again, we do need to win most of our games. If we lose this game, if we win out after losing this game, we still have a really good shot just based on what we discussed yesterday.
Yeah.
So,
Sure.
you know what? You want to throw him out there, see what he's got? All right. This is your chance to go shine and do what you got to do.
Yeah. You know what else, Mike? I think that we have a lot of questions, obviously, still lingering with Zach, which is why Mike White played to begin with. And if you look at the teams he's played this year that haven't had the best defenses, it's not like Zach's lit them up, because he hasn't lit up anybody. He only has 4 touchdowns, right? But he played adequate. He played okay in some of those games. You know what I mean? So when you look at some of the bad defenses he went against, he at least did enough for us to win games, which is really all you can say positive about this situation. Is just you look at the 7 games he did start, he's 5-2. Obviously, the 2 Patriot games are disasters. They didn't see the growth they wanted, hence Mike White. But I think what you're going to get with this game here, considering the past 3 games, 309 yards of offense last week, but you average the 3 games with Mike White in there, they're averaging about 420 yards of offense, Mike, which is insane. So the last 3 games, the offense looks like that. And now you're going against, like Mike just mentioned, the worst defense, 31st ranked, so second to last defense in the NFL. So if you come out and you don't play well, considering how well they've just played the last 3 weeks offensively, at least. I know maybe the points weren't there last week, but you guys know what I mean. When it comes to moving the ball, looking efficient, feeling like you have a shot there. If he comes out versus the Lions, Mike, after all this, after being benched, and the situation he put himself in, and he comes out and stinks it up. Mike, say he goes out in the first 3 or 4 drives and they're punting it. God forbid he throws an interception. I mean, he's going to get booed at a home game in a way he's probably never experienced in his life out there at BYU, and not yet here in New York either, because I think public sentiment to a degree has turned against him. People are in Mike White's corner. That's one of the reasons I think people are don't think this is a little fishy. Also, Mike, because people are loving Mike White, like you mentioned, and he did practice this week. But I will say a couple things, and I'm not trying to defend the Jets, even not and bash the Jets all the time, Mike. But practice isn't the same thing as playing in a game. He's not going to get hit in practice at all. He's just throwing the ball. And also, when you look at, kind of the adrenaline you have during a game, he got smashed in the ribs. I don't even know, Mike, did they even come out and say if he has a broken rib or what it is? I mean,
no,
yeah,
they just said he's not clear for contact.
Okay, yeah, so it's still, they're kind of vague about it, right? So, but the fact that he played, that's a head scratcher for Jet fans. But look, you're in the middle of a game. I mean, Mike, you remember when you're younger, you're in the middle, you're hyped up. Anyone, even if, you can get into a brawl with someone and get hit sometimes and be so fired up. You're like, let's keep going. Anything can happen when you have adrenaline, when you come down from that and you really think about it, Jet fans. Every time he got hit, the end of that game last week, he was taking a little while to get up there.
Yep.
He looked like he was in a lot of pain. What the Jets could be thinking, I'm just throwing this out there, is look, if this dude gets to rest until next Thursday, I think next Thursday is the Jaguar game, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
If he gets to rest until that game, there's a better chance for us to have Mike White the rest of this whole year and be in a healthier spot than throwing him out there this weekend, knowing that, look, he's going to get hit and it's going to hurt a lot and maybe doing further damage. That's my only thought. I
can get that. I can jump on board.
So far as the health aspect, that could be what they're thinking. Because Mike, and I'm gonna reiterate this. We do have, and I want to know if you agree. Joe Douglas and Salah this year, they've kind of gained our respect as Jet fans. Last year, Salah's still out. We're seeing what the story is with him as a coach. But Joe D, I think, and them kind of deserve the benefit of the doubt because they did handle this thing right and bench Zach to begin with.
Right.
Which none of us thought was coming, Mike. So, insofar as them and the respect they've earned, that's kind of my slant, Mike. Insowise, I don't necessarily think it's a conspiratorial scenario. I think it's maybe a situation where they can, like, look, if there is a shot, I mean, it might just be what you said, Mike. You said if there's a shot to get Zach in, the locker room's already been lost to Mike White.
Right.
The only situation you and I said Zach Wilson's playing again, we even just said it on the show that dropped yesterday, is injury related.
Injury related.
So
and this gives
really
them the cover.
Shot, right?
Right. I mean, look, is this finding ballots under boxes and stuff? I don't know. I go into, sometimes my mind may go into conspiracy, but look, we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, Jet fans, I think we take an L on Sunday.
That's the one thing I wanted to hit you with, Mike, and then we'll get out of here, Jet fans. We just had to go live because me and Mike were talking on the phone. We're so hyped. Every Jet fan I have knows is messaging me about this. Everyone has an opinion on Zach Wilson. And Mike, I haven't heard one of them that's been positive today. So I did my best to try to bring some levity to it and some positivity. But Michael, going into the game, I think we both thought we would win yesterday. We were both pretty confident that we're going to play well and win the game, even with the offense there at the Lions. Say our confidence was at, I'm going to throw a number out. Say our confidence was at 90% yesterday.
Yeah.
Where do you put it at now?
40.
40%. Oh, God. Dropped off the cliff for Mike. Mike's not feeling. Yeah, I know. I know what you mean. I mean, I'm probably right in the middle. And the only reason is, like I mentioned before, Mike, is not because Zach Wilson's played that well, but just when we played some of these teams with not a good defense, the other 7 games he played, he was okay in some of the games. Didn't light it up touchdown wise. And also one other reason, Michael, is Bam Knight.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I mentioned this to you when we were talking in our chat, fantasy football, me and Mike this weekend. Bam Knight's going to be in there probably tearing me up because, Michael, I think, like, if this is the game, Mike, if Breece Hall was in there, you're in your head like, all right, Breece is getting 20-plus carries, right? And Bam Knight has been almost as good as that yards per carry wise, averaging 10 more yards per rushing yards a game. So that's 2 reasons I have a little bit of optimism. And, of course, our defense as well. So that's it. That's what we got for you, Jet fans. We just want to come in, dip our toe in here. Ain't easy being green. Give your opinion on the Zach Wilson situation. Michael, and hopefully we still get this W this weekend.
That's right. All right, guys.
All right, brother.
Enjoy. We'll talk to you.
Cool.